Hi everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a couple of fun card projects featuring a bold watercolor inlay for sort of a stained glass look. I designed some new products for Simon Says Stamp, and I love the look of watercolor painting using distress inks. So I'm excited to share these products with you, and let's take a look at what I'm using today. I've got a brand new stamp set that is part of my Clean Line series, and this one is called Clean Line Faith. All of the sentiments are in this very minimal font, very simple and straightforward, and perfect for your friends of faith. I also created a set of dies. These are called the Inlaid Crosses, and they come both with two crosses that will cut out these patterns, as well as a shadow layer that you can ground the die cuts on. Next, there's also a coordinating set for Clean Line Faith if you like to cut out your small sentiments, and I'll be using a slew of distress inks for the watercolor painting. I will have all the supplies listed below. Also, a few stencils to create some interest on my card-based backgrounds, and I'll be painting today on some Tim Holtz watercolor distress cardstock, and I've got a blender brush as well, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is smush down all of my distress cubes right onto my little Waffle Flower mini media mat. This is a great surface for mixing and getting painty and messy. Plus it's small, so it fits nicely into any craft space. And the goal here is to create two little colorful swatches that will fully incorporate the die cut cross. All I'm doing is picking up the distress ink with my Tim Holtz water brush and laying it down on the cardstock in rainbow order. And the thing that I love about these distress inks for painting is how bold they are. Like, they dry and they're so bright and cheery and happy. And I think for an Easter card or a sympathy card of any kind, adding a little cheer is, well, it's not a bad thing. All right, I'll repeat another swatch and then just hit it with my heat tool to make sure it's dry. Aren't those bold and pretty? Love it. I'm going to set that aside. Next, I will cut out both cross designs and the shadow layer from a piece of Neenah Solar White Classic Crest. This is the 110-pound weight. I'm going to pop out all of those centers, and I will repeat cutting out the two outline crosses for a second set to add some dimension. Now that the watercolor piece is completely dry, I will die cut these crosses. And I will just set this aside. I'm not going to break it apart just yet. I want to keep everything in order until I'm ready to add these fills to the white outlines. I'm going to glue everything together here with the Elmer's Craft Bond. I'm going to do this off camera because it sprays and I like to hold my breath and I don't like this spray anywhere near my camera. And once that adhesive is on, I will carefully line up the outlines onto the shadow layer base. And I will repeat with the second cut. Next, I'll use my liquid glue to fill in these open spaces where I will add these colorful watercolor pieces. I like to gently press them in. Sometimes I'll grab my jewel picker just to gently press so I don't mar any of the actual watercolor piece. But I'm just filling this in with little dots of glue, working my way through with the watercolor fill pieces, and the result, a lovely inlaid watercolor, beautiful rainbow-y look. I love this. The other cool thing is too, you have an outline as well in rainbow, and I didn't do anything with it for this video, but I'm setting that aside for future use. Next, I'm cutting out a card panel using my favorite A2 layers dies from Waffle. I just wanted a perfectly sized panel because I want to do a little ink blending to create a nice background for this pretty cross. I'm going to use this radiating rays stencil and just get it positioned right where I want the blend to begin. And I've got some purple tape holding the stencil down now so it won't move. And I'll grab my mustard seed ink that I used earlier, load up my brush, and start laying down the ink. Now I'm going a little darker around the circle towards the base and blending lightly as I go. Really simple blending. Peeling that back to take a look, and I figured I could add a little bit more. So I'm just lightly brushing out on the rays and also brushing down a little bit to create a nice soft fade. Once I've got that how I like it, I'm going to add a little bit more ink into the center just to create a nice sunshine effect. And that will dry back nicely, and it looks great behind the cross. Now, while I've got stencils on the brain, I want to show you what I did for the second card. I took a piece of lovely lavender cardstock and a little bit of Nouveau Glimmer Paste in Moonstone, and very quickly just laid down a thin layer through the stencil. This is the triangle stencil from Simon Says Stamp, because I thought this would create a really pretty, shiny tone-on-tone background. And I set this aside to dry, but you can kind of see that cool texture. I cleaned this up a little bit. And I'll show you the card that results from that at the end. I'm going to stamp my sentiment here, just using some Simon Intense Black. Stamping that down using my Misty tool, and I will use the coordinating die to cut out the sentiment. Next, I'm going to score my card base. This is going to be top folding, A2 US size, and I'm using some Simon Says Stamp Lemon Chiffon. It's a pretty pale yellow. I like to tape my card bases closed while I am building the card. I've added some foam tape to the back of the blended panel. I'll pop that up with a nice bit of framing margin space. And then I'll position the cross, which I've also got popped up with some foam tape. Bring in my T-square just to make sure everything is straight. And that looks great. I'll pop up the sentiment also right in the center with just some thinner foam tape. And then I thought it would be cute to add some of these pretty waffle flower enamel dots to finish off the card. They have adhesive on the back, put a couple at the top, and put 2 more down at the bottom for just a simple bit of shine on the finished card. And that's it. I really like this watercolor inlay. I think it's so pretty and bold, but it's also really easy to do. I wanted to show you the second card I did with that glimmer paste background. I created this the day before using the same distress colors, but I just went a little bit lighter with them. And that is another look at how you can do your inlays. So it's really fun. And again, you have these extra pieces from the die shape itself. So I hope this inspires you to try this technique. It's very simple. And again, all of the supplies that I have used in these card projects you can find directly below this video. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.